My name is Aryan, and I'm an actor, or at least, I want to be. Right now, I am studying acting at a performing arts college in Mumbai while working a mundane job to pay for my tuition. I deliver pizzas for a small but popular restaurant. The job is boring, the pay is low, and my boss, Mr. Verma, is always grumpy. But I don't have a choice. That was until one strange night changed everything. It was a Tuesday night, usually a slow day for orders. But that night, I was given an unusual address, deep inside an unfamiliar neighborhood on the outskirts of the city. The streets were eerily quiet, the buildings old and rundown. Many homes looked abandoned, with broken windows and doors hanging off their hinges. By the time I reached the house, my hands were shaking. There were no lights on, and the place looked deserted. I knocked on the door and waited, but no one answered. I checked the order slip again. 3 pizzas, cash on delivery. If they didn't pay, I knew Mr. Verma would blame me for the loss and deduct it from my salary. That was not an option. I knocked again. Nothing. Just as I was about to leave, I noticed a faint glow at the back of the house. Maybe someone was home. I walked around and saw a locked gate, but I could still see inside through the gaps. There were 2 men in the dimly lit room. One was counting stacks of money, and the other was punching a hanging punching bag. Both of them looked intimidating, muscular, rough, and dangerous. Just then, my phone vibrated in my pocket, startling me. It was a call from the same number that had placed the order. I ran back to the front and picked up. "Hello," I said. A soft voice answered. "Are you here with the pizzas?" Before I could respond, the door creaked open. A girl, about my age, stood there. She was stunning, like a Bollywood actress. Dressed in casual but stylish clothes, she had a confident yet mysterious air about her. She took the pizzas from me, smiled briefly, and shut the door. Only after she was gone did I realize she hadn't paid. I rang the doorbell again. This time, one of the men from inside answered. He was enormous, at least 6 feet 4 inches with broad shoulders and a face that made it clear you shouldn't mess with him. He pulled out a thick wad of cash, peeled off some notes, and handed them to me. "Keep the change," he said in a deep voice before shutting the door in my face. As I turned to leave, I heard shouting from inside. The man was scolding the girl, saying something about keeping an eye on the door, and how she had messed up. That night, I couldn't sleep. Who were these people? Why did they have so much money? What if they were criminals? And why was the girl with them? I considered calling the police but hesitated. I had no proof, just suspicions. The next evening, I hoped to avoid that place, but just as my shift was about to end, Mr. Verma handed me one last delivery. I stared at the address. It was the same house. My stomach churned, but I had no choice. This time, the front door wasn't even shut properly. As I knocked, it swung open. I hesitated on the doorstep. Should I call out, leave the pizzas and go? Curiosity got the better of me. I stepped inside. The house was mostly empty, no furniture, no decorations, except for one room that was packed with computers and other high-tech gadgets. This wasn't a normal home. Then I heard footsteps. One of the men was coming. I quickly hid in a dark corner. He walked past me, shut the door properly, and shouted at the girl again. Why was the door open? Are you trying to get us caught? She muttered something about thinking the delivery boy had arrived. They were clearly hiding something. I took my chance, ran to the window, and slipped out just as one of the men entered the room. I sprinted back to my bike and rode off, my heart racing. That night, I told Mr. Verma everything. This time, he actually listened. But instead of calling the police, he said he would handle it. The next day, something even weirder happened. As I was walking home from college, I noticed someone following me. When I sped up, so did they. I turned around. It was one of the men from the house. My heart pounded. I was about to run when suddenly, the girl from the house appeared in front of me. "Relax," she said with a smile. "We just want to talk." We went into a nearby cafe, where the 2 men joined us. They introduced themselves as Rahul and Vikram, and the girl was Meera. Then they told me something that sounded almost believable. They weren't criminals, they were filmmakers. The house was a secret set where they were shooting a horror film. The money. Just a prop. The computers. Editing equipment. They had seen my online acting profile and wanted to offer me a role. I couldn't believe it. An acting role. My first big break. Excited, I agreed. That night, I arrived at the house for filming. Meera greeted me with a warm smile. "We're doing a vampire movie," she said. "You'll play a guy kidnapped by vampires." She put some makeup on me, messed up my hair, and told me to put my hands behind my back. Then, she handcuffed me. "They feel real," I joked. She laughed. "Realism is important." I was taken into a dark room and told to sit on the floor while they prepared the lights. Then I heard it. A muffled sound. I turned my head toward a cupboard in the room. Something, or someone, was inside. The door creaked open, and a figure fell out. It was Mr. Verma. He was handcuffed too, his face filled with fear. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a movie. I reached into my pocket and, with one hand, dialed the police. I whispered what was happening and then quickly shoved my phone under my leg. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. "Get back in the cupboard," I whispered to Mr. Verma. Somehow, he managed to crawl back inside. Rahul, Vikram, and Meera entered. "No more acting, Aryan," Rahul said. "You should have minded your own business." Then they saw my phone. Rahul cursed and reached for it. Before he could grab it, red and blue lights flashed outside. Sirens. The police broke in just in time. Rahul, Vikram, and Meera tried to run, but the officers tackled them to the ground. It turned out they weren't filmmakers at all. They were hackers and thieves who had kidnapped Mr. Verma after he got suspicious. Then, they had lured me in. The money was real, stolen. A month has passed since that night. The criminals are in jail, and I am back to delivering pizzas. But now, Mr. Verma treats me like a hero. And guess what? A TV news channel is interviewing me about the incident. Maybe, just maybe, the story will become a movie one day. And if it does, I better get the lead role. Thanks for watching.